Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are doing well this
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
afternoon, Ms. Bridgewater. The SAP reset date.
It's July 1st.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll get started as soon as courtroom two gets on with us.
And I did get that order.
Oh, good. Thank you. Good afternoon, courtroom two. Just let me know when you're ready to begin.
Perfect, Judge.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender or a conflict defender this afternoon if you do not have a private attorney and choose to utilize their service. Who do we have first?
We start with position 13, Judge.
Okay, very
Excuse me,
good.
Your Honor.
Yes.
My apologies. Mr. McLean is having some car troubles at the moment, so he is going to join the Zoom a little late. I don't know if you were calling his case at the moment, but if we could not start with his cases, he is going to be
Okay.
joining just a little later.
Thank
Understood.
you. Thank you, Ms. Tucker. I appreciate that. And courtroom two, I want to also, if you don't already know, I see that we have a private attorney, Ms. Stewart, on for Patel. So if you will, if you have that case in courtroom two, let's take that as soon as possible as well. Who do we have here first?
We can start with position 3, Mr. Boyd.
Mr. Boyd's case is being transferred. It's a DA transfer, I believe. I believe this is the case that I signed the transfer order for. Is that not correct?
Yes,
That's
sir,
correct.
it is.
Okay, yes. So he will be
Your
seen at
Honor.
first. Okay, good afternoon, Ms. McLeod. Is that your case?
Good afternoon. It is my case, Your Honor. It's the second day in a row I've had a transfer like that.
Okay, I signed that transfer a minutes before I got on, so it will be seen at first appearance. I take it tomorrow.
Yes, Your Honor. That
Okay.
concludes my business before the court today. May I be excused?
Yes, quick and easy this afternoon, Ms. McLeod. Hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go to position 11, Mr. Patel.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Patel. Let's see. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003374C with two counts of simple assault, family violence, and one count of simple battery, family violence. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Patel's first arrest. Good afternoon, Mr. Nixon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 16th, 2025. Officer responded to 680 Kimball Parkway in Jones Creek in reference to a domestic, and upon arrival, the officer spoke with the father, Garanj Kumar Patel, and stated his son, the defendant, was attempting to back out the driveway in a 2010 Toyota Prius. Victim stated that the defendant almost struck another vehicle, so he yelled at him to get out of the car and give the keys back. Now, the father demanded the defendant to give him the keys, but the defendant began kicking his feet in the air toward him. The father stated he believed the defendant would hurt him with his kick, so he grabbed him and tried to restrain him. Now, while the father restrained the defendant, Balkrishna Patel, the grandfather, came to help. Then the defendant began kicking in the air toward the grandfather. The defendant stated that the father was trying to take the keys away from him. So the defendant stated that the father was aggressive to him, and he was afraid, so he punched his father in the face and kicked at him, as well as the grandfather. We spoke with the victim, the father, Mr. Patel. The victim is the father of the defendant. They live together at the location. Victim stated that the defendant has MH issues, and he only called the police because he wanted the defendant to go to the hospital. Victim stated that the defendant is currently on medication, but his state goes up and down, and it varies. The victim stated that he wants contact with the defendant and wants him to return to the residence, and I believe the father should be on Zoom today. Per the criminal history and per the facts in this case, the state is going to recommend the SOB through pretrial. No further violent contact with the victims, both the father and the grandfather. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, as well as an order to comply with all inmates' recommendations and medications. And the state would ask that the court sign for the victims when appropriate.
What are the first names, Mr. Nixon?
Absolutely. It's Mr. Father is Garanj Kumar Patel, and then the grandfather is Balkrishna Patel.
Either of those individuals are on the line and wish to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. I see Mr. Barishna's iPhone here. Ms. Stewart, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow.
Yes, ma'am, you can proceed.
Thank you. I do know that Mr. Garang and the grandfather are both here on Zoom. I have been hired by them to represent Mr. Patel in this case. We would ask the court abide by the recommendations of the state. It is very important in this case that we have a no violent contact as opposed to no contact. Mr. Patel suffers from severe autism spectrum disorder as well as OCD and anxiety. Those conditions are well managed for the most part at home with his parents. His parents currently have power of attorney. If we were to prohibit all contact between he and the parents, Mr. Patel would have nowhere else to live. It would be incredibly destabilizing and work against the interests of not only his safety, but that of the community. So we would just ask the court to go ahead and abide by that. I have already spoken to, I've reached out to, I have the information for Mr. Patel's psychiatrist who is currently treating him. I think he's in a good position to go home and be stable, and we'd ask the court that you allow him to do that.
So just turn.
Sorry, Honor, I couldn't unmute or on camera, so I'm available.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Garage. Let's see if you can raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down, and if you want to add something to what Ms. Stewart has told me, I'm happy to do so. Just know that we are on YouTube, and I understand that your son might have some MH issues. I don't want to broadcast those on YouTube, but I am aware of those. And if there's anything that you'd like to add to Ms. Stewart's comments, I'm happy to hear it. I'm going to release your son into your custody if that's what you want me to do.
Yes, sir. I'm fully aligned with that, Mr. Stewart comments, and yeah.
Okay, so, and this is the correct spelling of your name, Gaurang here.
Yep, Gaurang. That's correct, sir.
And the last name is Patel.
Yeah, Patel.
Patel.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so I am going to make sure that he's released into your care. So that means you're going to have to take responsibility for him and pick him up. Anything that else that you would like to tell the court at this time?
No, sir.
Okay, as such, for each charge will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with with Mr. Garanj Patel or anyone in the household. Stay medication compliant. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. He is to have a parental co-signer of Mr. Garanj Patel.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything further on this matter, Ms. Stewart?
No, Judge.
Okay. We have a form that we'll need to get to Mr. Patel. So if you don't have that form, I'm happy to see if we can get it to you through pretrial.
I do not have it, Judge, so that would be wonderful. Or if you provide me with the information to reach out to somebody, I can seek it as well.
Mr. Howard, are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Can you get Ms. Stewart the information that she needs for the cosigner?
She have to put an email in the chat.
Yep,
Okay.
I'll do that right now.
All right. Very good. So once you get that, you all are free to go. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Judge. I have no other cases. May I be excused?
Yes. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank
Should
you.
we
You
be
too, Judge.
excused too, sir? Should we?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Have a good rest of your day as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who do we have next?
Next is position 2, the Ashley.
Afternoon, Mr. Ashley. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003369A with battery family violence and simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
20. Got an open battery out of state court. Open trespass out of state court. On probation, possession of drug-related objects. 2022 terrorist threats. Interference with emergency personnel conviction. 2012 simple battery crossing guard lines with drugs or weapons conviction. 2011 ag assault, ag battery burglary conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 15th. Officers responded to a physical dispute at 875 Cruise Street, Southeast, apartment 112. When they arrived, they met with the caller, Mrs. Catherine Dillard Robinson, who advised that her son, which is the defendant, Mr. Ashley, had just assaulted her. She informed officers that he struck her in the face with a closed fist, which caused her right eye to be swollen, and officers did observe visible damage to her right eye and swelling on the scene. Oh, and when officers arrived at the scene, the defendant was not at the home, but they were able to locate him across the street at the corner of Ormond Street and Crew Street and place him into custody. We did speak with the victim's mother today, Ms. Robinson. She stated they do not live together. She allows the defendant to come over and eat and sleep on her couch from time to time. Um, he has some MH issues. She believes he is not on his medication. And she believes there may be some substance abuse issues. Um, she said she was on the phone with her daughter, and the defendant thought she was speaking about him and got upset and started yelling. She began to call the police, and that's when he punched her, is when he heard her calling the police. She did state this is not his first time being violent towards her, but it's the first time that she's called the police. And she wants no contact with the defendant and would like for him to stay away from her residence. The state is aware of the defendant's prior criminal history as well as his MH issues. So, in reference to bond, we're going to ask for a $5,000 surety, a stay away from the incident location, which is his mother's address. But we would like to place this defendant on the competency calendar to just evaluate him and make sure that everything is he's following and abiding by all treatments that are ordered for him, Your Honor. And we will sound for Ms. Robinson at this time, and that'll be all for the state.
If Ms. Robinson is on the line or wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Here, so Ms. Tucker.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Ashley is 33 years of age. He's lived in the Atlanta area for around 9 years. He is homeless. He also said that he only lives at his mother's house on and off, sleeping on the couch whenever she would allow it. He has a ninth grade education. He's currently not employed. He would not be able to afford a $5,000 surety bond. I also requested a social service visit for a MH evaluation, and I was going to request that he be placed on the competency docket as well. Due to those issues, we are requesting the lowest bond that the court would allow in this case on his behalf.
Okay. For the battery, it will be a $3,000 good bond. For the simple battery, $1,000 good bond makes for a total of a $4,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Robinson. Stay away from her residential address. A social worker visit to assess for a MHET. I would like to place him on the competency calendar. I believe that calendar is on July 3rd. Is that the
Yes, sir.
is it?
That's what I'm showing.
Okay. July 3rd, SAP competency calendar, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ashley.
Next is position 4, Mr. Butts.
Good afternoon, Mr. Butts. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003372E with 2 counts of battery, with 1 count of battery and 1 count of simple battery. So my understanding that Mr. Butts has been before me before. Is that correct, Mr. Howard?
Correct. Battery DV. That's a 3,000 pretrial bond. 2014 FTA, 2014 crime against persons DV conviction. It's out of state. 2012 crime against person DV conviction. And the '08 assault DV conviction. So it'll be 3,000 on top of whatever you set.
Okay. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident, just want to forewarn you, it's the same victim as the last, occurred on June 15th. Officers were dispatched to 6910 Silver Maple Trail in Fairburn, Georgia, in reference to an assault call. When they arrived, Mr. Butts, the defendant, was coming from the back of the residence with a stick in his hand. He sat down in a chair with the stick in his hand, and officers asked him what happened, and he refused to answer any questions. They approached Mr. Joe Butts, which is the defendant's brother, and he informed officers that he was sitting in the garage, and the defendant called him, excuse my vulgarity, bitches and hoes. And then he stated that his brother grabbed 2 bicycles and threw them towards him, and he tried to defend himself by running away, and the defendant grabbed a stick and hit him on the left side of his head. He stated that his brother had been drinking vodka since 7 o'clock, and the altercation came about because the defendant was impatient with Social Security and getting some money from his Social Security system. Um, Officers did observe swelling to Mr. Joe Butt's head on the scene, and they did take pictures, and they placed the defendant under arrest. You are correct that the defendant was in front of you in March, and he was given a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2 with the conditions of no further violent contact to any family members. So as such, we are asking for that bond to be revoked and moving for that, Your Honor. The state's recommendation for this case is a $2,000 cash bond, no contact with his brother Joe Butts, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol. I'm not sure if the defendant lives at this location, but if his brother does, I believe he needs to stay away from the incident location. And we will sound for Mr. Butts at this time, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Joe Butts is on the line and wishes to address the court. Does not appear so. Ms. Tucker?
Mr. Butts is 59 years of age. He's lived in the Atlanta area for a few years now. He does reside in the area with family members. The incident location, it does belong to his niece. He has stated that he would have nowhere else to live if he were not allowed to live at that location. Mr. Butts is currently not employed. So we are requesting a $1,000 surety bond on his behalf at this time.
Okay. $1,000 bond The simple battery, it will be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $4,000 good bond. I want him to have a social worker visit to assess for a BHET or an MHET. I want him to have alcohol drug evaluation and any treatment that's necessary. He is to have no further contact with Joe Butts. He is to stay away from the Silver Maple Trail address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings that he has there. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Butts.
Next is position 5, Mr. Dennis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dennis. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003373A with battery family violence and 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
26, 2023 battery DV, cruelty in the third that was dismissed. As far as violence, he had a 04 simple battery, cruelty in the first conviction, 04 ag assault, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission, cruelty in the third conviction.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 15th, 2025 at 4375 Cascade Road, apartment J125. When officers arrived, they made contact with Miss Catrice Monroe, who's the victim in this case. She advised officers that her children, the father of one of her children, I'm sorry, Mr. Dennis, the defendant, had spit in her face and struck her in the mouth with a closed fist. Officers observed a laceration on the inside of her lip on the left side of her face. At the time when officers were on the scene, there was a witness, Miss Tania Williams, who's the mother of Miss Monroe, who was inside the residence at the time and witnessed the incident. She witnessed the defendant strike Miss Monroe in the mouth. There were also 2 juveniles in the home, KD and CH, who were present at the scene, and they reported that the defendant forcibly entered their bedroom before they heard an argument ensue between him and their mother. The children did not witness the incident, but they heard the verbal altercation. We did speak to the victim today. She stated that her and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together at the incident location, and they do share one child together. She stated that they were arguing outside, and spit came out of her mouth, and the defendant thought she was trying to spit on him, so he spit on her. She stated she went into the house and the defendant stayed outside. And when she was leaving the residence, as she was walking out the front door, the defendant was opening the door and it accidentally hit her in the mouth. And she only called the police because she wanted the defendant to leave the residence. She did also state that this is not the first time the defendant has been violent towards her. And as pretrial noted, there was a previous case, 23CR 006841J, which is battery, family violence, and cruelty in the third degree. The case was dismissed, but this was a case between the defendant and the victim. The victim did state she's not in fear of the defendant and she would like to continue contact. Um, we are aware of jail calls between the defendant and the victim, where the victim actually stated to the defendant that she was bleeding, and he actually spit in her face twice in front of everybody. Um, and she told him that she didn't tell officers at the scene that the child's finger is broken. She believes that he's only like that when he drinks, and he did apologize to her for not being himself. Your Honor, the state does have major concerns about the violence that's occurring in this home and the fact that it's occurring around the children. As you just heard, there apparently is something else going on here, especially as it pertains to the children and them being in danger. The state's recommendation in this case, in light of the defendant's criminal history and their prior history of violence between him and the victim, is a $5,000 cash bond. We're asking for no contact with the victim or the minor children. Stay away from the incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while on bond, and completion of a FVIP course. We will sound for Ms. Monroe at this time, and that'll be all for the state, Your Honor.
Ms. Catrice Monroe would like to address the court. Now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to activate your camera for me, and I'll have to swear you in.
Okay, it says you cannot start your video because the host has disabled it.
Okay, we're gonna able it. So,
Good afternoon,
okay.
Your
Good afternoon. Can you raise your right hand for me, Ms. Monroe? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court, ma'am?
Calvin Dennis, he is a great father. He's not an aggressive person. The argument is steered that he has some depression going on with himself, and it just steered from something where he didn't receive calls on Father's Day from his kids, and he does a lot for all of his kids, including mine. Um, he did not break the trust. You have my 1 year old here. I just wanted to make him feel bad. But the way he acted out, my child's finger is not broken. I can put his fingers on video to prove that my
Okay.
lip is.
Ms.
He did.
Monroe, I need for you to stand still for me, okay?
Um,
So that I can
I,
properly hear you. Go ahead.
yes. He aggressively opened the door when he came in the house, not knowing that we were coming out because we were about to leave to go get his Father's Day gift and go get dinner and let some time cool down. But I will show my 1 year old finger. They're not broken. Like I said, everything was overstated to the police officer out of anger between me and him. A lot of those things did not occur. I have Calvin. This is my 1 year old. His fingers are.
Oh, okay, okay. Um Miss Monroe, I don't want your 1 year old seeing the father, his father in custody. I think that's inappropriate, and I think that you need to think before you act here. Okay, I can take your word for that the finger's not broken, but I don't want to involve the children in this matter. That's my biggest issue with all of this is that the children are involved in this matter, and you and Mr. Dennis, you are the primary people that are raising those children. Whatever's going on between you and Mr. Dennis in that household, they are witnessing, they are observing, they are learning from. You need to understand that. So I can understand you're a grown person, but those children need to be protected.
Right.
Okay? That should be your first and foremost concern. What else would you like to tell me, ma'am?
That was all. It's basically all stated, out of anger that went on that day, and I didn't want him to go to jail because he didn't do anything besides we were arguing, and you're right about that. But the thing is just, I didn't ask for them to go to jail. I asked for him to leave for the day, and they didn't go with that.
All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Monroe. Ms.
Thank you.
Tucker?
Mr. Dennis is a 52-year-old Atlanta native. He is currently employed as the maintenance supervisor for the apartment complex that they reside at, which is important here. The incident location is his residence. He's the only leaseholder there. So I'm going to object to the stay away for on behalf of Mr. Dennis, because not only is it his residence, he also is employed there. So I don't know how that will affect his job. He also has stated that Miss Monroe doesn't live there permanently. She comes on and off. She actually resides with her mother at 1601 Pine Tree Road. So she actually has another residence that she's able to go live at. So it may be better if she lived if she relocated to Pine Tree Road, so that he's able to live and work, because he does have 8 children that he would still need to provide for. Um, he Also, prior to this incident, there was a case in 2023. However, it was dismissed due to insufficient evidence. And prior to that, his criminal history was limited to some convictions back in 2020, back to convictions in 2004. So, because of that limited history, we're going to ask for a signature bond on his behalf.
Are you able to live at that Pine Tree address? I'm not saying that you have to live there, but if you live, are you willing to
Yeah,
move to that address?
it's 1608 Pine Street, and I'm able to go to that address if I need to.
Okay. All right. As such, I believe that there needs to be a more of a cooling off period here. As for the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For each of the other charges, a $500 good bond makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. 5 days of anger awareness. At this time, no further contact with Ms. Monroe. He can go back to the Cascade Road address with law enforcement. If Ms. Monroe is not residing there, he can stay at that location. If she is residing there, he will have to gather his belongings and find someplace else to live. Third-party transfer of any minor children for visitation. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you
Your
both.
Honor, you have a
Yes, ma'am.
how long will the no contact thing be for me and him?
If I
No
see that
contact.
he's in, if this bond can be modified. If I see that he enrolls in anger management and he's supposed to do what he can do, his attorney can bring the case back before me to seek a modification at a later time when I believe that there's enough sufficient time for there to be cooling off and that that some help is provided. Okay. Good luck
Thank
to you
you.
both again. You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next is position 8, Mr. Jackson.
That's also your case, Ms. Tucker? Okay,
Yes, Your
thank you.
Honor. I actually have a concern about this case. Mr. Jackson was before the court yesterday. He actually received 3 signature bonds, and the charge that's for him today is a terroristic threat and acts. But the affidavit has a different name on there. I don't believe the charge is for Mr. Jackson.
If I may, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Austin.
Mr. Jackson has an alias. The other name, Mr. Oscar White, is his known alias, apparently. It's listed in his documents.
He was before
So
me yesterday as Oscar White.
he was before you as Tony Jackson.
Tony Jackson. Okay. And so he's before
Yeah,
me
under other
again
charge. As Tony Jackson.
as Tony Jackson. So some other document has Oscar White on it.
I believe the neighbors know him as Oscar White. And Odyssey has him listed with both names for us.
Okay. And you've confirmed the birth date.
Matches.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. Now I'll check just again, just to be sure.
Your Honor, if I could just jump in a little bit.
Yes, Ms. Falk.
It looks like this was one of the typical things that happens when somebody's being booked out of the jail and they get a hit from another warrant as they're processing the person. So this warrant was taken out back in 2024, and it appears that it did not show up until they were processing him out on I believe his previous charges included driving on a suspended license, driving without a valid license, failure, giving false information to a law enforcement officer, and failure to yield right of way.
And so when they were processing him out, they found this. Okay.
They hit on a new warrant. Yes.
Okay.
And the date of birth is December 19th, 1970. So it's the same date of birth for both cases.
All right. Thank you both. Good afternoon, Mr. Jackson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003365C with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13. I saw 2016 suspended license, some old charges. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 27th of 2024. Officers responded to 955 Stonewall Drive for a report of a dispute with the neighbor. When they arrived, they made contact with Ms. Tamika Butler, who's the victim in this case, and she reported another incident and an ongoing dispute with her neighbor, the defendant. They had an issue earlier in the day where the defendant was in front of her yard breaking a vacuum and yelling. She reported this to police, and later the defendant came back in front of her yard, stood at the end of her driveway shouting. And when she opened the door, he shouted, excuse my vulgarity, "You better not keep snitching, bitch, or I'll deal with you." And this placed Ms. Butler on high alert for her and her kids' safety. She has two minor kids who live in the home who are also fearful of the defendant. The state's recommendation in this case is $1,000 surety bond. We're asking for a stay away from the victim's address, which is 955 Stonewall. The defendant's address is 917. And no contact at all with the victim or her minor children, and no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And we will sound for Ms. Butler at this time, Your Honor. That'll be all.
Tamika Butler is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Ms. Tucker?
Yes. Mr. Jackson is a 54-year-old Atlanta native. His history, he has a lot of driving infractions, but not a lot of violence in his history. He's thought he was going to be released yesterday. He says he's possibly lost his job, being held over because he was supposed to report back in today. So he's going through financial difficulty. So we're asking for another signature bond on his behalf for this additional charge.
Okay, given the date of the charge and that there hasn't seemed to have been any further incidents, it will be a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. Butler. Stay away from the Stonewall address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Jackson.
Next is position 10, Mr. Lewis.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lewis. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003371B with 2 counts of battery family violence, 2 counts of simple battery family violence, and simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Yeah, 21 total. On probation, 3 counts of ag assault out of Clayton County. On probation for battery cruelty to children, Clayton County. He got open fleeing and officer obstruction charges. What else? Got an open ag assault out of Clayton County. Discharging firearm near highway, I'm sorry. Terrorist threats, reckless conduct. What else we got? 2024 battery cruelty in the third NOLO. 2024 failure to appear.
Thank you. Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on September 17th, 2024. Officers were dispatched to 4498 Washington Road in East Point. And that's Days Inn located there. In reference to a fight, and upon arrival, the officers met with one of the victims, Latanya Washington, who stated she tried to stop the defendant from getting into room 318 by standing at the door. But the defendant pushed her out of the way and into the wall, injuring her right shoulder. Further, it was reported that after pushing Ms. Johnson, the defendant proceeded to attack Sequita Lewis, that's another victim, by punching her on the head and dragging her body by the hair from the door to the living space area by the bed. Now, Ms. Lewis confirmed the events and stated that an unidentified male tried to talk to her, which made the defendant mad. And Ms. Lewis had scratches or Ms. Lewis had scratches on her wrist. The scratches were red and appeared bruised and darkened in color on the left wrist. And officers also observed visible bruises to the left side of her face towards the eye area and the forehead area. And at the time, Miss Lewis and the defendant were currently going through a divorce. Now, we spoke with the victim, specifically Miss Sequita Lewis. The victim and the defendant are married. They do not live together. They share no children. The victim stated that the defendant has been incarcerated in Clayton County since this incident. And it's important to note here, and that's per the history, criminal history that Mr. Howard has stated. The victim stated that the charges that he has in Clayton are charges involving her and the defendant shooting up her mother's house. The victim stated that she's had no contact with the defendant since he's been incarcerated. She stated that she does not want any contact with the defendant and that she has moved and the defendant does not know where she stays. Per the criminal history, per that ag assault, and with regard to the facts of this case, the state is going to ask for $2,500 surety for the battery family violence, another $2,500 surety for the other battery family violence, $1,000 surety for the simple battery, $1,500 surety for the simple battery family violence, $500 surety for the simple battery family violence. No further contact with Sequita Lewis and Latanya Johnson. Stay away from the residences of both Miss Lewis and Miss Johnson. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, as well as FVIP. The state would ask that the court sign for the victims when appropriate.
Miss Johnson or Miss Lewis, if either of you are on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does it so? Is this your case, Miss Tucker?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Lewis is a 34-year-old Atlanta native. He has a high school education. He has 3 children, ages 10, 12, and 15. He is currently not employed because, as it was stated, he has been incarcerated for the last 9 months. Due to that incarceration, he would not be able to bond out on a surety bond. So we are requesting a signature bond on his behalf. In this matter, we have no objections to stay away from the incident location, as well as no contact with Miss Lewis or Miss Johnson. He has had no contact with either during this time, as well as, of course, he has not been to the location.
Okay. The battery family violence charges will be a $2,000 good bond. For each of the other charges will be a $1,000 good bond. Makes for a total of a $7,000 good bond. No further contact with Miss Johnson or Miss Lewis. Stay away from the Days Inn on Washington Road. Stay away from both of the alleged victims' residential addresses. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Lewis.
Read that mine again.
Your Honor, you were chopping that. Would you go over those bond amounts again, please?
Yes, ma'am. $2,000 for each of the battery family violence.
Okay.
$1,000 for each of the other charges. Makes for a
Okay.
total of a $7,000 total good bond.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Who do we have next?
Next is position 13, Ms. Peterson.
Good afternoon, Ms. Peterson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003376Y with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history?
Second arrest. 2020 trespass battery DV dismissed.
Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on, I want to say it was November 7th, 2024. This is at Crawford Long Middle School. The defendant here threatened Miss Nicole West by saying that, I quote, "I will kick that old expletive." The victim and defendant were co-workers at Crawford Long Middle School in the cafeteria. The state has contacted the victim. The victim stated that the defendant asked her a question. She did not respond. The victim stated that this upset the defendant and she began yelling and threatening her. The victim stated that she had never had an incident or altercation with the defendant prior to this incident. They stated that neither of them currently work at that school and stated that she has not seen or spoken to the defendant since the incident and wants no contact. I don't believe the victim will be on Zoom, but I'll still ask the court to sound for the victim when appropriate. Per the criminal history and the facts of this case, the state's going to ask for SOB through pretrial. No further contact with Nicole West. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, as well as a one-day anger management.
If Ms. West is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Good afternoon, Mr. McLean.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thanks for tolerating my tire problem. Your Honor, no objection.
Okay, it will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No further contact with Ms. West. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Peterson.
Next is position 7, Mr. Hedrick.
What was the last one?
$2,000 signature bond through the jail.
Okay.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Halbert. You have been charged in.
Oh, this is Hedrick.
This is position 7, Mr. Hedrick. Good afternoon, Mr. Hedrick. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003366F with theft by taking, willful obstruction of law enforcement officers, and simple assault. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Well, got an open obstruction out of Clayton County. Open charge out of Marietta for simple battery. On probation out of Spalding, shoplifting, obstruction, simple battery. Couple of probations from 2023. 2022 failure to appear. 2019 burglary, second degree first offender. 2019 theft by taking conviction. 2019 shoplifting conviction.
Thank you. Ms. Harrison?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on June 16th. So yesterday, officers were dispatched to Rickshaw Thai Street Food. The address is 1495 Alpharetta Highway in reference to a disturbance. When they arrived, they spoke with Miss Laura Rivera, who's the victim in this case. She's an employee at the restaurant. Miss Rivera informed officers that a male had come into the restaurant asking to use the phone because his car had broken down. She offered the restaurant phone to him, and he began acting aggressively, asking to use her personal cell phone. He laid down on the bar. She stepped out from behind the bar to speak to some customers. And when she stepped out from behind the bar, she observed him go behind the bar and grab a bottle of Casamigos Anejo tequila. She attempted to stop him from stealing the bottle of tequila, but he stood in front of her and over her in an intimidating manner, which scared her, so she allowed him to leave. She was able to describe him to officers as wearing a green shirt and having a face on it, and officers recognized him as a male that they passed when they were driving to respond to the call. So they drove back up the road and made contact with the defendant on the sidewalk in front of 530 South Main Street, and he insisted that he didn't steal anything and he was not at the restaurant. So one of the officers stayed with the defendant while another walked back to the restaurant and viewed security footage, and they were able to confirm and observe Mr. Hendricks, the defendant, enter the restaurant and also exiting the restaurant with what appeared to be a bottle of alcohol. Officers took him into custody, and when they searched his person, they found the bottle of Casamigos in his waistband. He was placed under arrest and the bottle was returned to the restaurant. We did speak to Ms. Rivera today. She stated that she is an employee at this restaurant. The defendant did come into the restaurant. She thought that he was with another person when he entered into the restaurant. She confirmed that he did take a bottle of tequila after asking to use the phone, and that intimidated her when she tried to prevent him from taking the bottle back, and he stood over her. She wants no contact with the defendant and wants him to stay away from the restaurant. The state's recommendation, in light of all of the facts you've heard, Your Honor, is a $3,000 surety bond. We're asking for no contact at all with Mr. Rivera, a stay away from the restaurant location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and we will sound for Ms. Rivera in the event that she's joined us in court. That'll be all for the state.
If Ms. Rivera is with us and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Does not appear so. Mr. McLean?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Hedrick is a high school graduate, Spalding. which is Griffin, Spalding County, which is Griffin, Georgia. He's a restaurant cook, has worked in several different restaurants. He asked the court to set the lowest possible bond for him, considering the charges. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond. If that is not possible, then we would ask for a 1,000 surety bond. There was a slight difference or slight discrepancy between the phrasing in the affidavit for arrest. We never found a document. There may be a document, but we have not yet seen a document that said he stood over her like it says in the accusation, only that he stood in front of her. So at any rate, Your Honor, that's our request for bond.
Okay. For each charge will be a $500 good bond, makes for a total of a $1,500 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Rivera. Stay away from the incident location. I want him to have a social worker visit to assess for a BHET. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hedrick. Mr. McLean, Mr. Hedrick's trying to get your attention, I believe, if you want to give him a call after court to address whatever needs that he might have.
Very good. Probably just reaching his family. I will, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Hedrick, Mr. McLean will reach out to you after court today.
Next is position 12, Mr. Peebles.
Good afternoon, Mr. Peebles. You've been charged in case 25 CR 003375F with possession of a pistol or revolver by a person under 18 years of age. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Peebles' first arrest. Mr. Nixon?
Yes, Your Honor. This occurred on June 12th, 2025. The officer was dispatched to a discharging firearms call at 322 Amherst Parkway in South Fulton. And upon arrival, the officer spoke with the Gideon Corps International Security Guard, Orion Canton, and the owner, Derek Bradley, excuse me. Now, Mr. Canton stated that he was sitting in a chair beside the basketball court watching the teenagers play basketball on the court when he heard one of the teens say, "Chill." He stated that he then observed a black male subject wearing a gray hoodie come down the hill, clenching from his pants. He said he heard the male subject wearing the gray hoodie ask one of the teens, "What are you reaching for?" Mr. Canton stated that the black male wearing the gray hoodie then started shooting, which led to the defendant returning fire. Mr. Canton said he then ducked behind cover while the teens on the basketball court ran away. Officer watched the video footage, which confirmed the events, and I believe Mr. Peebles is actually 17 when this all occurred. Yes, you've heard the criminal history, but Your Honor, here a firearm was involved, a gun was involved. There were other people in the immediate vicinity, and quite frankly, Your Honor, this defendant is not supposed to have a handgun at his age under Georgia law. As such, Your Honor, the state is going to recommend a $5,000 or the $5,000 surety bond that's already been set. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And the defendant needs to surrender all firearms to Fulton County Sheriff's Office.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, I'm trying to reach his mother. I have a telephone number for her, and I believe he has told me that she does have an email, but he's not sure exactly how to spell it. Your Honor, we would ask the court, if I can get hold of the mother to do a co-signing, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond if that is possible, based on the following. He's been to several high schools, and he has worked on his GED. Are okay, he tells me. I want to confirm that. Being 17, I have a job history, but currently he's been going to high school in Douglas County. Prior to that, he went to Langston Hughes and also Fulton Leadership and Westlake. So in his family life and in his life, he was physically geographically moving around a little bit, and caused him to go to several high.
Excuse me.
Yes.
Okay.
Is
Um,
that
I'm not sure. Let Mr. McLean, I'm sorry. Let me see if this is his mother so that you can. Miss
Yes,
Harris.
I am his mother.
Okay,
very good?
give me one moment, Miss Harrison. I'll note that you're here. You continue to complete what you were saying, Mr. McLean, and I'll come back to Miss Harrison.
Now that we've found, really, that's it, Your Honor. Just several high schools. He says his grades are good. They're not stellar, but they're pretty good, he says. And if I explained to him the process of if the court were to trust him to come to court on time and not get in trouble, that a person his age would normally be required to be supervised. And he understands what I mean by supervision, which is basically uh, you're not really an adult. You're going to be treated as a child. Consider yourself a 5-year-old under house arrest, and you will be in court on time. That sort of thing.
Okay. Miss Harrison, you can unmute yourself there for me. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell me about your son?
We haven't moved around. We have been in the same place for the last 6 years. I have just switched his school to get away from certain people that he has been in contact with. That's the reason for the movement of the schools.
Okay. Is it were you aware that he had a gun?
No,
Okay. Is he currently in school?
he is. He's actually in summer school as we speak
Where is he in summer school?
at Douglas County.
What grade is he in?
He should be going to the 12th grade.
What else does he do on a daily basis?
Nothing really. He's usually stays in the house. He doesn't go out. He's been looking for a job these last couple weeks. He actually went to a job interview 2 hours before the incident occurred.
Anything else you want to tell me about your son?
No,
Does he have a job?
no.
Did he do any after school activities?
He used to play basketball, but he just stopped playing basketball on the travel team.
Um, is this the correct spelling of your name that's on the screen here? Raiana Harrison.
Yes.
Okay. Given his age and that he is in school, and that this is his first arrest, I'm going to release him as you as a parental co-signer, but he's only going to be released to you. I'm going to have him have a curfew. I'm going to require that he stays in school. So if there's nothing further, Mr. McLean, it's going to be a $20,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Curfew, he's to be inside by 9 p.m. He cannot go back out until 6 a.m. He is to stay in summer school at Douglas County Schools. Once summer school is over, he is to attend the next regular session of school. A parental co-signer of Ms. Harrison there, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. He is to surrender all firearms and obviously not have any firearms since he is under the legal age to have firearms. There should be no firearms at this point in time, Ms. Harrison, in the household. Okay?
Your May I request that she put in chat the correct spelling of her email, and I'll have my colleague, I'll ask my colleague, Ms. Tucker, to forward the email link that cosign.
Okay. Can you put your email address in the chat for us, Ms. Harrison?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Who do we have next?
Next is position 15, Mr. Smith.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith. You have been charged in case 25 CR 003377D with simple battery against a person who is 65 years or older or was pregnant at the time of the offense, and two additional counts of simple battery family violence. It's my understanding that this is Mr. Smith's first arrest. Mr. Nixon.
Yes, Your Honor, this occurred on January 14th, 2025. Officers were dispatched to a domestic violence call at 390 Campbellton Road, Southwest, Apartment 3. On arrival, officers met with Shemaya Ford, who reported that she was having a conversation with her boyfriend, the defendant, who was at the time sitting on a blow-up mattress playing video games. She asked him how he intended to help her in paying rent and taking care of the bills. He ignored her. At that point, Shemaya got upset and damaged the air mattress, which she was sitting on. That is when the defendant got upset and placed his hands on her neck and punched her in the stomach. Um, and she was pregnant at the time. She stated that she never lost consciousness and there were no visual signs of injuries. Our office did speak with the victim. The victim and the defendant are in a relationship. They live together. Victim stated that they no longer live at the incident location, but at another location that she did not disclose. They shared two children. Victim confirmed the events in the warrant. Victim stated that she does not want to press charges and does not want the defendant in jail. And I believe the victim will be on Zoom. It may be the defendant's first arrest. However, it was a very high risk to the unborn child with the assault on her stomach, and he could have harmed her, even killed the unborn child. And as such, Your Honor, state's going to recommend a total $3,000 surety, 1,000 on each count. No further violent contact with Shemaya Ford, the victim. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, as well as 1 day anger awareness, and as well as the state would ask that the court sample the victim. Yes, that's all.
If Ms. Ford is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity.
Hi.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Can you raise your right hand for me? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Ms. Ford. What would you like to tell the court?
With that incident, me and my baby father argue about crazy stuff. But yeah, with that incident, honestly, I really feel like he did it because of what I did when I had, he basically just wanted me to stop bothering him. But he did, with him hitting me in my stomach, that came from him trying to grab me. But nothing, my baby is not harmed. He's very healthy. Actually, he came out bigger than what he was supposed to come out. We moved somewhere else. I don't have no family. I don't have nobody. My baby father is all I have. My baby father and my child. We live in the same apartment together. The apartment is in his name, but the light bills and stuff are in my name, and I pay the rent. I don't have nowhere else to go. So as far as him not being able to be around me, I don't know how that's gonna go because he don't really have family like that either that's gonna take him in. Like it's just us two. So yes, we get frustrated a lot, and yes, we get into like arguments, but our arguments and stuff be so small. But he did try to grab me because I was mad. I was in his face. I was yelling. I was irritated. But yeah, that's really about it. I need my baby father, and my child needs his father too. This is like I don't have the rest of my kids, and he don't have the rest of his kids, and this baby that we share together is really all that we have. Honestly, he changed. He got a job. He after all of that, he came back. He apologized. He got a job. Like it's been different. We have not been arguing and stuff like that.
And so this happened back in January, allegedly, and you all have been together since that time?
Yes, we had broke up for a little while, but then he had came back and I had to let him know that I apologized and he apologized about everything that was going on. And as far as the bond, I'm the only person that could pay it. And as far as right now, I do not have no money. I had to pay rent. So
Okay, so, and he has a job?
yes, he have a
And,
job. He work
and
his
he's,
job every single day. He do overtime all day. He makes sure I have food in the house to eat. He makes sure that my baby has milk. He send his mom money because the mom is the one that's watching the baby right now because we both working. So he sent his mom money to buy the baby milk. Like Yeah, he's doing good. I didn't even know they pressed charges. They said they couldn't find his name and all that. And if I wanted to press charges, go to the court. But I never got a chance to go to the court because I didn't have a ride. And then for two, he came back and he apologized about everything.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Ford.
Okay.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Smith is 20. Is from originally born in Warner Robins, so he's a Georgian all his life. He went through the ninth grade at Northside High School here in Atlanta, but also was working on his GED after that and doing jobs after the ninth grade. And while he worked on his GED, he was at Skyview High School in the southern, near the airport. He has worked in the restaurant. He has worked in a warehouse prior to that. And his current work is in a restaurant. We would ask the court to consider the lowest possible bond with appropriate conditions.
Okay. For each charge, it will be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, which makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. I want him to have 1-day anger awareness. I also want him to have a parenting class, no further violent contact with Miss Ford, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you both.
Judge, that was a $3,000 signature bond, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Should be the last person. From my understanding, position 14, she's at ACDC, but she's going to be a medical reset.
Okay. What about position number 6? Albert?
He was reset from yesterday.
Yes, Mr. McClain can possibly speak on that. I took him up to see him earlier.
We did see Mr. Hubbard. His behavior been a bit volatile in the opinion of other people in the jail whom we have not spoken to yet, but they put him from one status into a more general patient, and then they moved him back into psychiatric, if I'm correct, in my understanding, they moved him back into psychiatric observation unit, which is the very restricted area. So we went to him there. He had earlier told a felony public defender that he waived his hearing with regard to his presence in a bond hearing for felony level. But then at the felony level, they determined that this was really a misdemeanor level, and so they didn't have a hearing. I wish I could borrow that waiver of presence and assert it here, but when I asked him, he said no. So if he, and of course, we're not in a position to tell the sheriff how to do their security and how to do their safety in the courtroom. We wouldn't be that presumptuous. So if a cell phone could be brought to his cell door, that'd be great. But otherwise, I think it needs to be, for today, it would have to be another medical reset and see how it goes tomorrow.
Okay, see if you can get a waiver for tomorrow, Mr. McLean, or see if you can see if we can get a phone for tomorrow, or have him, if lucky enough, present. But we'll reset him for 6/18 to give you the opportunity, given his circumstance.
Very good.
Okay, as far as position number 9, James, did that person bond out? Do we know?
Yes, Judge. Position 1, position James, I forgot what position was that now.
Okay, he's not.
Yes, they both bonded out.
Okay, very good. So that completes the calendar for today. Is that right? Okay. Yes, Miss Bridgewater, whenever you're ready for us.
Okay. Position number 1. Oh, let me stop. The reset date for the SAP calendar is July 1st. Position number 1 is reset further notice. The defendant is released. Position 2 is going to the comp calendar on July 3rd with a total $4,000 good bond. Position number 3 has been transferred to Superior Court. Position 4 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $4,000 good fund. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 6 is being reset till tomorrow. Position 7, SAP calendar with a total $1,500 good bond. Position 8 is reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through the jail. Position 9 is reset further notice. The defendant has been released. Position 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $7,000 good bond. Position 11 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial with a cosigner. Position 12 is reset further notice with a $20,000 SOB through pretrial with a cosigner. Position 13 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 14 is being reset till tomorrow, and 15 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Okay, if not, thank you all. We'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your afternoon.
Thank you.
All righty.